Our research title is Assessing the Decay of Post-Activation Potentiation from Nordics on Sprint Performance in Team Sport Athletes.
We have two hypotheses. One, Nordics would induce a PAP effect to enhance performance, and two, the PAP effect will be greater in the longer time frame.
We're doing this project for UB Sport Performance and in the interest of the performance practitioners. They oversee the athletic programs at the university, ranging from recreational activities to the elite sport performance.
UB Performance supports top athletes and teams with coaching, facilities, scholarships and MDT expertise.
As we're both on S&C placements this year with lacrosse and tennis, these will be the participants for our study.
PAP stands for Post-Activation Potentiation and refers to the enhancement of performance of a subsequent activity following a maximal or near maximal conditioning contraction.
There are two main mechanisms that are said to induce PAP.
1. Higher phosphorylation of myosin regulatory light chains, creating higher force production from the muscle contraction. There is also evidence that this makes the muscle more sensitive to calcium release.
And 2. The recruitment of larger motor units by reducing transmission failure, which is commonly an inhibitor of this.
Many studies have shown that PAP can have a positive impact on sprint speed, mainly for increasing rate of force development by shifting the low velocity curve to the right.
Following the contraction, both potentiation and fatigue are induced. If fatigue fades faster than potentiation, there will be an improvement in performance.
There are three main factors affecting the fatigue and potentiation relationship: volume, intensity, type.
So why have we chosen this area of study? Firstly, due to the importance of speed in team sport performance and how this leads to game-winning outcomes. Secondly, due to the fact that Nordics are an unresearched area of PAP. And thirdly, due to hamstring contribution at max velocity.
So far for our study, we've been able to recruit 17 participants of all genders, aged 18 to 25, all playing team sports. All these participants have been familiarised with doing Nordics through their S&C sessions.
Participants completed 3 separate visits, the control trial, PAP 5 and PAP 10 in a randomised order. PAP 5 involved a 5-minute rest after Nordics before sprinting, while PAP 10 had a 10-minute rest before sprinting.
On each visit, participants completed a sprint-specific standardised warm-up, followed by 3 sets of 2 Nordics, then the designated rest period, then one maximal 40-metre sprint.
The key outcome variables will be acceleration over 0 to 10 metres, overall sprint performance from 0 to 40 metres, and max velocity at 30 to 40 metres.
For all outcome variables, statistical analysis was run in Jamovi using a repeated measures ANOVAs test and post-hoc analysis. Let's have a look at the results.
So firstly, we'll look at acceleration. As you can see from the graph, acceleration got progressively slower through the 3 trials, with no significant differences between any.
Next, we'll have a look at 40-metre sprint performance. Looking at the graph, we can clearly see that on average, participants got slower through the 3 trials, and our data analysis showed that this time was significantly slower compared with the time at baseline.
And finally, we'll have a look at max velocity. As you can see, it got worse throughout the 3 trials, with repeated measures ANOVA showing an overall significant decrease in performance.
We are also looking into analysing the smallest worthwhile change to measure if the improvements had any practical significance.
From the results, we can confidently reject both our hypotheses. There are a few reasons why we think they came out differently, and here are some recommendations.
Sprinting is a highly technical motor skill, and research shows if participants don't have a higher level of technique, this can reduce their PAP effect. None of our participants were formally sprint trained, so from this we can recommend that it's more important for participants to be well sprint trained before you start integrating PAP into training.
PAP is a very individualised response, with some people being high responders and some people being low responders. Because of this, looking at the entire group performance is relatively unimportant. As you can see, some athletes did improve from the testing, so we recommend that coaches identify high and low responders before implementing PAP protocols.
Nordics may have been an inappropriate conditioning contraction to use for sprinting and for our participants. Sprint performance requires a lot of hip flexion and extension, which wasn't present in the Nordics. Also, Nordics target the hamstrings, which are key at max speed. However, in both tennis and lacrosse, they very rarely reach max speed.
Time constraints and limited contact hours with the athletes was a limitation to why we couldn't assess individual strength and individual response. Whilst this might not be a challenge for professional teams, it highlights challenges that grassroots and university clubs might face.
Strength has been shown to be a major factor influencing PAP, with stronger individuals responding better than their weaker counterparts. However, in this study, we had no measure of the individual strength, meaning the conditioning contraction could have been too intense for some people and not as intense for others. So we recommend, before integrating PAP into a training program, You quantify each individual strength so you know the desired intensity of the conditioned contraction.
We hope UB Sport will take our recommendations into future practices.